Yo, YouTube, what's good? It's your boy NR Reggie Moore. Reggie back again with another video for y'all today. Today we got a little reaction video. Shout out to my mans, W Mans. Shout out to my guy 2-3, because he had told me like, yo, like I've been with videos like this, bro. Like you should really keep doing videos like this. And I was like, I got you, bro. For me. So here we are. So today we did Advanced Warfare DLC Improve this unlinked Call of Duty game. I think it's Risto. My fault, I'm saying your name wrong, buddy. But I did the COD Ghost, had the unique DLC video on his, and that junk did pretty good. So I'm about to tap in and see about Advanced Warfare, because I actually played Advanced Warfare. So I'm trying to see what bro talking about, see what he got going on for me. Tap in, grab your food, snacks, whatever. Put your feet up and enjoy the reaction.
With so many games under it, I'm surprised that Call of Duty has had some amazing DLC as part of many of its different games. From the amazing zombie maps in the Black Ops series to some of the greatest multiplayer maps ever created by Infinity Ward, there was barely ever a shortage of great DLC content for fans. And I've come to
go back. I've seen that. Go back.
There was barely ever a shortage of great DLC.
2, yep. Cyborg, oh my! I had the Cyborg and the Dragon Pack, man. Oh my goodness, what was it? $2 for some camos, bro? $2 and like 50 cents, bro. We never getting that fire back. I'm telling y'all right now. Like what? Graffiti pack. I always wanted the graffiti one too. I had not a pack of punch. What was it? Weaponized 115. I had that. Bro, if you know, you know. Weaponized 115, bro. Clean on every gun.
And I've come to say that even some of the worst Call of Duty games to be created still had some fun and interesting map packs during their life. Advanced Warfare was the first in the Jetpack trilogy era of Call of Duty games, and was Sledgehammer's first title headed by them as a development team. This was surely an uphill battle for this team, not wanting to be compared to Infinity Ward.
It's the fact too, at this time, it came out after Ghost. So niggas wanted something different. Even though Ghost just came out. Ghost just came out at a bad time. That's it. Came out right after BO2, so they expected some Herculean type shit. Like, nah, bro.
Or Treyarch, they took a very different approach to this arcade shooter and equipped the player with exosuits, allowing them to spring around in many directions. Most fans didn't like this. It was just too jumpy. A player could be out of your sight and shooting you from above in milliseconds, and you'd have no chance to react. But this mechanic forced Sledgehammer to make varying styles of maps to fit with it, and having a much higher jump, these maps could hold a lot more elevations than before. And whether you like that or not, that's the style of the game. And these DLCs show that tremendously. But enough about the base game, let's get into the map packs. Advanced Warfare was just like any other Call of Duty from its time, and would release with 4 DLC packs, all bundled in its season pass. Now before I do the typical and name off the packs, I feel I should mention this. Advanced Warfare was the first Call of Duty to hold the god-awful loot box mechanic.
Facts. Go back. Facts.
Advanced Warfare was the first Call of Duty to hold the god-awful loot box.
Bro, when I tell y'all the supply drop shit was some deadly gambling, yo. Bro, I used to get one, see some YouTube video about it, save it, right? When I get another one, then I'll open it. When they came out with the advanced supply drops, it was over.
Box mechanic, a serious plague on the gaming industry at the time that this game came out, and it had so much worthless crap stuffed into this pool of items that I don't even want to even talk about them. I'm just going to be a little brief. This game held different variants of weapons already in game. These were leagues better than the base guns, and was very pay to win, or so it felt. Along with this, they would also drop DLC weapons into these loot boxes.
I ain't gonna lie to you, I ain't get the AK-47. This just came up. I wasn't about to say this. I say this. I got the I ain't never get the Obscenity. I got the Inferno. Real niggas know the Inferno. I ain't get the Insanity. Madison, I ain't get that. I ain't get the STG. I ain't get that M16 either. A lot of good guns came out in this game.
And by the end of this game's life, an average player would be lucky if they had even a handful of these guns. You could argue that the guns are the most important part of a COD game, and putting them behind a rather unfair paywall was ridiculous. But I just wanted to mention them, and I'm probably not going to talk about them as they came out like I will with the DLC packs, so I'm just focusing on the DLCs, okay? The 4 map packs for Advanced Warfare were known as Havoc, Ascendance, Supremacy, and Reckoning, and these would all release with 4 multiplayer maps maps and one Exo Zombies map. This game mode was just alright, I won't lie. Why make exosuits the main focus of this mode if every damn zombie is just going to be an EMP zombie? But some of the packs would also have other added content, and I will speak on them when the time comes. Havoc is up first and was released on January 27th, 2015 for Xbox, February 26th for PlayStation, and March 3rd for PC. This was the only DLC.
What? This DLC was valid though. What? Bro, I'm telling you, I was fiending AW. I was fiending AW so damn much, bro. What? I had it on Xbox 360. I didn't even get it on next gen till like after.
To separate PC and PlayStation's releases, and I'm not sure why they did that, but this pack released with the multiplayer maps Sideshow, Core, Drift, and Urban, as well as the Exo Zombies map.
Urban, the best map on this DLC, hands down. Urban, the best map on here. If you play this game and you play the first DLC, Urban, the best map on here.
How original. This pack would also give fans access to the AE4. This is a direct energy assault rifle and was kind of cool, I won't lie. This gun had an unlimited magazine but was prone to overheating. It was an okay gun, but when you got speakeasies and obsidian steeds running amok, it's hard for any gun to shine, really.
Facts.
First map is Sideshow, and this map takes players to the Clown Inn in Wyoming. This is a very visually appealing map, I can't lie, and is easily the one I can remember the most from this game. Advanced Warfare changed up the formula for map making. Instead of every map holding a 3-lane structure like they did before, they decided to go for a more natural feeling to some maps, and this one shows that for sure. The motel setting would normally be boring, but comboing it with a creepy clown feel helps it to stand out. This map was chaotic as hell, and you didn't know what you were getting into loading it up. Now, Advanced Warfare was directly after Ghost, so this game takes a bit of inspiration from that game by having dynamics for the maps. And for this map, the giant sign from the motel tips his fedora and drops bombs all over the map. The players could then grab these bombs and use them against enemy players or just have them explode in your hand. This map was very whimsical and a great start to this game's DLC season. Next map we look at is Core, and this map was much closer to the 3-lane structures we all knew. For this map, players were taken to a destroyed nuclear fusion facility in the Gobi Desert. This was a very large map, but mostly due to the unplayable space in the center causing tunnels and choke points. If you could control the center of this map, you would have a serious advantage over the other team. This one again would also hold a special dynamic that was hidden inside of the Orbital Care Package. Orbital Care Package, just like any other care package, just came from space, and it would give you a random kill streak from the game, but they decided to add this map's dynamic inside of it instead of having it somewhat like a random event. The streak would be called the Decontamination Drone, and this would spawn in a drone that would detect and kill enemy players. Just something simple that I guess fits with the map, but just felt weird to put it in the care package. Third map for Havoc was Drift and was located at a ski village in the Rocky Mountains. The slope of the map fits well with the
Drift felt like that map on Black Ops 2. It was another snow map. I just can't remember. Y'all know what I mean. Y'all know the name of the map. If I look, I'm gonna look it up and y'all gonna see it. But that remind me of this map right
So suits, honestly, giving a rather fun flow to it. Being set close to Christmas, there's trees everywhere and lights and decoration. It's a cozy holiday feel, really. Well, until the map's dynamic comes in. At some point in the match, an avalanche would occur, covering the top half of the map in snow, and killing every player unlucky enough to stand underneath it. This was a rather fun mechanic, and I feel like anything that changes the map during the game is just super cool. Like, think Strike Zone from Ghosts. The last map for this DLC was named Urban and was a rather fun close quarters map for this game. This one is located in Dallas, Texas in an urban structure, and that's really all we get for lore. It fits in with the game's story, so I'll let the vagueness pass. Being in the middle of a packed city adds a great background with towering buildings all around as you fight on the streets and sidewalks outside of this urban structure. Still, there was a lot of ups and downs for this map, and it wasn't your average small map. The dynamic as well was similar to a DLC map from Ghosts. The map would start in lockdown mode, cutting players off from parts of the map, but after some time passed, the area would open up and give you way more room to run around in, just like Showtime from the Nemesis DLC in Ghosts. This was easily the best map from the DLC, only followed by Sideshow. But that is it for the multiplayer maps, and let's take a look at Exo Zombies. The map Outbreak would be the first official Zombies map for Advanced.
I didn't think Advanced Warfare was going to. I didn't think Advanced Warfare was gonna go the Zombies route. When I saw it happen, I couldn't believe that shit. I was like, yo.
Warfare, as the mode wasn't in the game until this DLC. They had a different variation that was using multiplayer maps for something, but it wasn't this mode. This map takes place at an Atlas Biogenesis research and development facility in the United States, and it tells the story of the start of the zombie outbreak as we follow employees of the building as they try and survive this deadly situation. The map layout was simple and similar to most old Treyarch maps like Kino, a spawn room with just 2 directions to enter the map, all in one big loop really. The facility is nice, but this game mode just wasn't as fun as Treyarch's. It just felt like a slog to go through these rounds, and a lot of the mechanics just felt like they weren't there for fun. They were just there to be annoying. But that wraps up the Havoc DLC for Advanced Warfare, and it wasn't that.
I mean, I did feel like they probably weren't going with the zombies route. That's why the game mode of zombies feels off a little bit. Only Treyarch could really do it well, to be honest. But I feel like the only reason why they did it because when they showed the zombie thing at the end, niggas got to set up for zombies and they just did it.
That bad considering it was Sledgehammer's first DLC for a COD game, so I'll let them pass there. The second DLC for Advanced Warfare was Ascendance, and it dropped March 31st, 2015 on Xbox and April 30th on PlayStation 4 and PC. This pack dropped with the multiplayer maps Perplex, Site 244.
Oh man, what y'all know about the OHM Werewolf? I was actually using that big ass LMG. What? That shit was nice, I ain't gonna lie.
And Chop Shop, and would contain the Exo Zombies map Infected. This DLC pack also held the new gun, the OHM, I don't know. This gun was leagues better than the AE4 and was an LMG shotgun hybrid. I mean, need I say more? Well, I am. The gun fits well into the multiplayer and was an absolute monster to go against. First map is Perplex, and this is probably my least favorite map from—
Damn, you got me thinking a shotgun hybrid? Oh my goodness, that would be toxic today. That would be toxic, bro. Especially with the Dragon's Breath, bro.
Any Call of Duty game. I hated this map so much playing on it for multitudes of reasons, but this is the most Advanced Warfare map there is. This map—
Facts. This map right here is probably the most Advanced Warfare map, like he said. But I had fun, and I ain't gonna lie. I was still younger. I was like 14, 15 around the time, so I was still having my fun. But I'll say to play competitively, the map was kind of ass because the map was too open, so you was going to end up getting flanked somewhere.
It takes place
eventually
in New South Wales at a 5-story apartment complex, and it's basically just a staircase, and it promotes using the exosuits 100%. I mean, you need to get the high ground so you could have an advantage over the enemy team. It's a very King of the Hill style map that you would see on something like Halo 3. There really wasn't many safe places on the map. It just wasn't fun. I don't know. That's just my opinion. And I mean, even the map dynamic was just some drones moving platforms here and there to kind of change up slight lines on one of the sides. I feel like the devs were very proud with this map as it fits in the exosuits very well, but it's just not very Call of Duty like. Next map was Site 244, and this map was very, very interesting. Taking place at a crashed alien spaceship at the foot of Mount Rushmore, the environment is set up so well here. I don't know why, but this map reminds me of the crashed Air Force One from Modern Warfare 2. It's very presidential. This is one of the largest maps from this game, and it holds many long lines of sights for its lanes, as well as close quarters areas inside of the crashed ship and around the corners of the map.
But the thing about this game, the big maps didn't feel like big maps because we had a whole exosuit, so we were able to boost, double jump. You feel me? Like, it was so much level to it, so the big maps don't feel like big maps.
This alien theme, the map's dynamic kept that same energy. Inside of an orbital care package, players could find the Super Serum, and once used, this would grant the player increased health as well as threat detection and the gun load perk. This dynamic wasn't very game-changing, but it was very different from the others in this game. Still, I think this is one of the best maps to come from the DLCs for this game. Next map was Climate, and this takes place inside of a large biodome. I mean, no other information outside of that, really. This was a very open map filled with all types of rocks and vegetation, though still having a dystopian atmosphere about it. It is very bright and the complete opposite of the biodome from Moon, so it's a nice difference. The dynamic for this map sees the filtration system fail and the water around the map turns toxic, hurting anything inside it, be player or score streak. The map was surely interesting and made for some fun gunfights in its open space. Last multiplayer map for Ascendance gives us Chop Shop.
Chop Shop was valid. This was a good map. If you know, boy, This was actually a valid map.
This map is located in a black market exoskeleton factory, and it's something I've noticed looking into these DLCs that Sledgehammer created their own areas, and Treyarch and Infinity Ward would almost always place their maps somewhere in the real world, grounding them into reality. But something like this one, it's a little boring in its theme. This map was very symmetrical on both sides, and the urban design makes the whole map feel kind of forgettable. I mean, there isn't really anything going on outside of some exosuits hanging here and there. I feel a normal car chop shop would have looked far more visually appealing for a DLC map. But that wraps up the multiplayer side of Ascendance, and let's take a look at Exo Zombies. For this DLC, we got the map Infection, and this is arguably the worst map to ever be made in any of the COD Zombies mode. For this map, players are taken to an Atlas command center inside of some city in the United States. Players can navigate the streets and surrounding buildings, completing tasks to further the story. At first, this map looks great. The layout is fun, with the sewers connecting the multiple sections all together for a fun flow that can be a bit demanding, but then the game's mechanics show up and all the fun is sucked away, with toxic gas zones showing up and locking out full sections of the map, and it's just not very fun to escort around and do all of these little missions that they want us to do. Sledgehammer tried so hard to be different than Treyarch that I really feel like it hindered this mode and made it a slog to play more than anything else. Though funny enough, this is the map I probably...
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Shoot, if they would have followed the Zombies blueprint from Treyarch, word for word, ball for ball, on some Soulja Boy junk, I ain't gonna lie to you. Who knows? This Zombies could have been extremely valuable.
Played the most for this game mode. But that's it for Ascendance, and overall normal DLC, half and half really. Third map pack for Advanced Warfare was named Supremacy, and it was released on June 2nd, 2015.
I don't even think I played this part of the DLC, bro. It's tough.
And July 2nd for PC and PlayStation. And this DLC would give players access to the multiplayer maps.
Skyrise. Is that High Rise? Yeah, I did not play this. Yo! Something like Skyrise. Is that High Rise but Advanced Warfare? Because it's a Sledgehammer. Bro. Tough. Well, Infinity Ward made that, but yeah.
Kremlin, Parliament, Compound, and Skyrise. This was a remake of the Modern Warfare 2 map High Rise, and this team's first map remake from an older COD. Seeing as how Sledgehammer helped in the making of Modern Warfare 3 when Infinity Ward has developers left, I'm not surprised that they would be allowed to use an older Infinity Ward map for their first game. But lastly, players would get the Exo Zombies map Carrier. First map is Kremlin, and this takes us to the fortified complex in Moscow known as the Kremlin. Going back to what I said about Chop Shop, this is the exact opposite idea. This takes you to the real life Kremlin and throws it into Advanced Warfare for players to run and gun them. Map is very nice to look at, and a snow-covered Russia is no surprise for gameplay. The map's layout is simple as well, being mostly rectangular with varying depths to it.
Does it? Nah, I didn't want to ask that.
Lanes, and with that, the dynamics for this map aren't really anything too crazy. First, there are 2 turrets for players to use for gunfights, but also, halfway through the match, proximity explosives will be activated, which will explode anytime a player draws near them. It's nothing crazy, but I did really enjoy the appeal of this map, having the futuristic aspects of this game simply just being an accent to the building's old architecture. It worked really well in my opinion. Next map is Parliament, and so far this DLC is following a strict dress code. This map takes players to a ship docked beside the Palace of Westminster in London. This is another gorgeous map, though sadly Big Ben and Westminster are just a backdrop, and the action mostly takes place on this battleship. But outside of that, I do enjoy a good boat map. The dynamic for this map was again hidden inside of the orbital care package. This time it is the Skylight rocket, and once used it would fire down a barrage of rockets to the selected location on the map. The old COD Ghost Mortar trick, huh? But anyways, this map had an amazing backdrop of London, but I feel it could have been better as the main map area instead of just something looming in the background. Next map is Compound, and this one takes players to Camp Irons in Denver, Colorado, completely ruining the theme this DLC had going for it. I feel like if maybe Site 244 was in it, it'd be a little more on theme. Camp Irons is an Atlas training facility and is one of the smallest maps from this game, and this here was Chaos Incarnate. You could not breathe on this map without somebody kangarooing your ass to the back rooms. Though this map was small for Advanced Warfare, it still was nothing compared to some of the older games. And I think the devs tried to display that with a certain little Easter egg, because if you were to hop into spectator mode and look outside of the map, you can see a full undeveloped remake of Rust from Modern Warfare 2.
Dead ass, I did not know that. You're lying.
Mode and look outside of the map, you can see a full undeveloped remake of Rust from Modern Warfare 2. It makes you wonder why it's even there. Was this just something for us to find, or was there a larger plan for this game era? I guess we'll never know, really. There is a bit of a humor in this map, with player-sized cutouts littered everywhere, causing a huge distraction in the heat of battle. And also, this map did not have a dynamic. Every other DLC map so far had one, so it's little. Last map was Skyrise, and this map showed why older maps were amazing, and also why they should probably stay confined to their own engine. Adding the exosuits to the map changes flow completely. Now certain high points of this map that had only 1 or 2 ways to get up to them were open from any route. A player can go from the bottom of the map to the top of the helipad in just 2 jumps. No, I can't really fault the game too much. The map was exactly the same, just with a futuristic coat of paint, and I mostly played bare bones, so the exo mechanic didn't ruin the flow for me. And the dynamic for this map isn't a dynamic at all. It's just the 4 large gas tanks that you can blow up from high rise. It's just the same. So it's not really a dynamic. Lastly, for this DLC, players got the Exo Zombies map Carrier, and I might have been lying when I said I played Infection the most. For this map, players are taken to a large aircraft carrier in the Pacific Ocean, holding a Varuk style of spawn. The map starts off fun, and it has a simple layout, making it easy to reconnect with the other 2 players. This one also held similar annoying rounds like Infection before it, and would add the player disarming bombs guarded by Atlas strike teams. And I feel anytime you think to put guns in the hands of an enemy in a COD Zombies game, just know you're wrong, and that this shit is annoying. But outside of that, I did enjoy the map's layout a lot more than the previous ones, and it just might be my favorite Exo Zombie map. Favorite's a strong word when it comes to this mode, really.
I ain't get to play this part of the Zombies, though. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was able to play
that's it
like
for the Supremacy DLC for Advanced Warfare. This is probably one of the best DLCs from this game, if not the best. Each multiplayer map was unique outside of Skyrise, and the Zombies map was a fun respite in a slog of okay maps. Reckoning was the last DLC pack for Advanced Warfare and would release August 4th, 2015 for Xbox and September 3rd for PlayStation and PC. This DLC
That's crazy. PlayStation really had to, and PC had to wait a whole month just to get a DLC.
would contain the multiplayer maps Fracture, Overload, Quarantine, and Swarm, as well as the last Exo Zombies map, Descent. First up is Fracture, and this might be my favorite map from this game's
I did not get to
Located
play
at an
these
excavation
DLCs.
site in the Arctic Circle, this map holds a very fast flow, being fully outside with no open buildings, pushing players to get into long-range gunfights. The bright colors popping against the snow is reminiscent of many Treyarch maps, and I just remember enjoying this map a whole lot. The long line sight style of map makes it hard to spawn flip, and I love a good face-to-face battle. On top of all of that, the dynamic fits just too well to the theme. At the halfway point, the unstable ice on the edge of the map will break away, some parts sink into the cold waters, while others just stay floating for players to jump to and from. It's a simple dynamic, but it fits so well and grounds the map for the player and adds fun randomness. Next map is Overload, and this one takes the player to downtown New Baghdad. This one is simple in theme, long hauls, plenty of space for jumping and getting the drop on the enemy teams, but it doesn't really stand out. The gold highlights to the map is very nice to look at, but the tall buildings block the sky, and it overall just makes it feel like any other Advanced Warfare map. The dynamic for this one activates plasma lamps halfway through the match, and these lamps emit pulses of electricity, killing any players that walk near it, but they can be shot and deactivated for a bit. The dynamic helps the map stand out a bit more, but it's still just okay. Next map was Quarantine, and this map takes the players to Liberty Island. New York City is beautiful this time of year, even if you're stuck in some crazy animal testing facility during it out. Most of the map is laboratories and
I remember this map now. I ain't play on it, but I remember when the DLC came out for this map. That's crazy, and it really was called Quarantine. Look where we at now.
buildings, but there is a large play areas for the animals in the middle of the map, as well as one of the labs hosting a group of caged monkeys that will screech and rattle their cages if spooked by the player. The Statue of Liberty looming in the background fits well into what Advanced Warfare was doing with a lot of their DLCs, seeing as how a lot of these well-known areas throughout the world are present, whether being the map itself or just a backdrop. I like these style of maps a lot more than the large in the middle of a city type of maps that they were going for. Outside of that, the dynamic for this map triggers an event that opens 2 blast doors in the middle of the map, leaving a hole that players could fall in. This map really was simple in layout, but its theme and pacing was great fun. Last map for Reckoning was Swarm, and this takes players to a reconstructed part of Seoul in South Korea. Adding to the list of urban maps to this game was unneeded, but I will say this map has some flair. Neon signs litter the streets and add a nice pop to the gray buildings. The different style of vehicles and architecture stand out as well, and the overall layout is fun to play. play. I just really feel like I was so burnt out on tall building street maps by this point of the game. The dynamic for the map added the drone swarm score streaks to the map, and this would let players direct a drone swarm towards targeted area, exploding on contact. The streak was scary to look at. I mean, the mass amount of drones coming at you signaled a gruesome death. But overall, the map fits its theme and truly felt like a Sledgehammer map. Lastly, we look at the Exo Zombies map, The Sit, and this one takes us to an underwater Atlas facility known as the Trident Retreat. The players spawn above water on the landing during a nasty storm and must fight their way inside of the facility and drop down this hole heading underwater into the map. This one really is interesting in premise, but I feel like it's lacking. The underwater areas feel like you're just inside of an aquarium, only having small glimpses into the water, and they're mostly just shallow tanks with some greenery. They had a huge chance to give us some awesome Bioshock scenery to this map, but it just ended up being dark and wet. 4 out of 10, too much water. In the end, Advanced Warfare was the first COD to truly do something different, and it got a lot of hate for
that and COD Ghosts. Those two games truly did something different, and still got hate for it.
That. I'm not going to say I look back and think it's some amazing Call of Duty that we all treated too harshly, but I still think Sledgehammer was giving a hard task with this game. The maps are fun and challenge the 3-lane system we were all used to, and I can't fault them for trying to be different during a time where the fan base was begging for just that. What was your favorite DLC map from Advanced Warfare? And
niggas begging for different, and when different show up, niggas don't want it. That's crazy.
How did you feel about Exo Zombie? I'd love to talk about it in the comments, and don't forget to sub while you're down there. But overall, the DLCs were still pretty good and held that same standard that Treyarch and Infinity Ward had before this game, even if the design style was hindered a little bit because of the exosuits.
Facts. Man. But shout out to Rich too, for me, Rich Toe. Bro, I do not want to say your name wrong. Did Advanced Warfare DLC improve this unlit Call of Duty game? I'll say Advanced Warfare did something different. While people was asking for different, and niggas just didn't want it. But the game was valid though. If you really want my opinion on this, really like a 7.5 out of 10 for real. I ain't gonna lie to you. Had great guns. It just came out at a bad time, I guess, because it was the same situation with COD Ghosts. But we gonna end it right here, man. If you made it to this point in the video, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. We go 10 likes again, feel me? 10 likes. And it's your boy NL Reggie, more Reggie. We out here, man.